my beloved child. Come closer and listen to me now. Do not rush past this moment. Do not let your mind wander elsewhere. What is happening right now is not ordinary, and the fact that these words are reaching you is not coincidence. There are moments in a life when heaven leans in quietly, not with noise or spectacle, but with intention. This is one of those moments. I am speaking to you now because something has been set in motion, and your heart can feel it even if your mind is still trying to understand it. I know how heavy you feel. I know how long you have carried questions without answers. I know how many times you told yourself to be patient, to be strong, to wait just a little longer, even when your strength was running thin. I have seen every silent prayer you whispered when no one else was listening. I have heard the sighs you released when words felt too difficult. Nothing about your struggle has gone unnoticed. You may think this is just another message, another voice, another moment that will pass like so many before it. But deep inside, something in you knows this feels different. That quiet pause you feel in your chest right now is not imagination. It is recognition. It is your spirit responding to truth. I am asking you, gently but clearly, to open your heart in this moment. Not later. Not when you feel more ready. Now. I am not here to pressure you, and I am not here to frighten you. I speak with urgency because love speaks clearly when timing matters. There are moments when waiting protects you. And there are moments when waiting only feeds fear. This is not a moment to pull back. This is a moment to lean in. I know you are tired of hoping. I know you have learned to guard your heart because disappointment taught you caution. You told yourself that expecting less would hurt less. You learned how to survive by lowering your expectations, by convincing yourself not to want too much, not to believe too deeply. And for a time, that kept you standing. But survival is not the end of your story. Today is not like yesterday. This season is not like the ones that came before. You are not the same person you were when you first started waiting. Something has shifted within you, even if you cannot name it yet. The restlessness you have felt, the quiet stirring that made you feel unsettled without knowing why. That was not anxiety pulling you apart. That was preparation drawing you forward. I've been softening your heart, loosening old fears, creating space within you so that what I speak now can take root. Your miracle is not being created. It is not being debated. It is not waiting on approval. It is already prepared. What remains is not my decision, but your response. Will you open your heart now, or will you hesitate because fear has trained you to delay joy? I know that fear well. It has whispered to you before. It told you to wait until you had proof, until you felt certain, until the risk of disappointment was smaller. But fear often disguises itself as wisdom, and waiting can sometimes become the safest way to never move at all. Listen to me carefully. Trust is not the absence of questions. Faith is not understanding everything. Faith is choosing to open your heart even when questions remain. Faith is taking a step while your hands are still trembling. Faith is listening when part of you wants to turn away, because hope feels dangerous. I know your story. I know the nights when you lay awake replaying conversations, decisions, and moments you wish you could change. I know the days when you smiled for others while feeling empty inside. I know the prayers you stopped praying out loud because you were afraid of being disappointed again. I know the dreams you quietly buried, telling yourself they were unrealistic or too late. None of that has pushed me away. If anything, it has drawn me closer. I have never measured you by your strength alone. I have always seen your heart. I saw you keep going when you wanted to give up. I saw you choose kindness when bitterness would have been easier. I saw you endure silence without walking away. That mattered more than you realize. This moment matters too. There are doors that only open when you respond immediately. Not because I rush you, but because hesitation gives doubt time to speak louder than truth. Doubt will tell you to wait until you feel ready. But readiness is not a feeling. Readiness is alignment. And you are more aligned than you think, or I would not be calling you now. You have learned how to endure. Now I am inviting you to receive. Receiving can feel more vulnerable than surviving. Survival keeps you guarded. Receiving requires openness. It asks you to believe that something good can actually arrive without you bracing for loss. That is why this moment feels intense. Not because danger is near, but because opportunity is. Heaven is attentive right now. Not watching to judge you, but watching to respond. Every softening of your heart matters. Every wall you lower matters. Every quiet yes you whisper inside matters. I am closer than you realize, and I am speaking to you personally, not generally, not randomly. Do not scroll past this moment in your life. Do not treat it as just another message. You asked for change. You asked for relief. You asked for a sign. This is your sign. Stay with me. Open your heart. My beloved child, stay here with me a little longer. Do not pull away just yet. I know your mind is trying to analyze, to measure, to decide what this means and where this leads. But for this moment, I am asking you to rest your thoughts and listen with your heart. There are truths that cannot be grasped by effort, only received by openness. I want you to know something clearly and without doubt. This moment was not created suddenly. It was not improvised. Long before you felt lost, long before you questioned your path, long before you wondered if your life would ever shift in a meaningful way, this moment was seen, held, and prepared. I knew you would arrive here carrying both hope and hesitation. I knew you would be listening with a heart that wants to believe and a mind that has learned to be careful. I am not offended by that carefulness. I understand how it was formed. You did not become cautious because you lacked faith. You became cautious because you cared deeply and were hurt deeply. That tells me something important about you. It tells me your heart is capable of great love, great commitment, and great belief. Hearts like that do not stop hoping easily. They protect themselves when hoping has been costly. I have never mistaken your caution for disobedience. I have always seen it as a sign of depth. There were seasons when you felt as though time itself was against you. Days blurred together, prayers felt repetitive, and waiting became exhausting. You wondered if something was wrong with you, if you had missed a step, if you were somehow behind where you were supposed to be. But hear me now with certainty. You were never behind. You were being formed. There is a kind of strength that is loud and visible, and there is a kind of strength that grows quietly under pressure. Yours grew quietly. While others rushed forward, you were learning endurance. While others celebrated early victories, you were learning discernment. While others were distracted by noise, you were being taught how to listen in silence. None of that time was wasted. I was with you in moments when you felt unseen. I was with you when you questioned your worth. I was with you when you wondered if your efforts mattered at all. You survived things that should have broken you, and you did not survive by accident. There were moments when you felt you were standing on your own strength, but I was carrying more of the weight than you realized. The reason you are still here, still searching, still listening, is because something within you refused to let go completely. That persistence was not random. It was placed in you. I know you have asked why certain doors stayed closed, why opportunities seemed to slip away, why answers came slowly or not at all. I know how tempting it was to interpret silence as rejection. But silence is not absence. Silence is often preparation happening beneath the surface. There were things you wanted that would have overwhelmed you if they had arrived too early. There were paths that looked appealing, but would have taken you away from who you are becoming. There were relationships, outcomes, and directions that felt right at the time, but would have cost you parts of yourself you are meant to keep. I protected you even when you did not recognize it as protection. You may look back now and see loss. I see preservation. You may see delay. I see alignment. This is why today feels different. Not because everything around you has changed, but because something within you has matured. You are able to receive now what once would have been too heavy, too confusing, or too consuming. Growth does not always feel like progress while it is happening. Often it feels like standing still while everything else moves. But roots grow in stillness, not in motion. I want you to notice what you are feeling right now. Not the fear that flickers, but the calm beneath it. That calm is not resignation. It is readiness. It is the quiet understanding that you cannot remain where you have been. Something new is asking to be welcomed. You do not need to know exactly how everything will unfold. You do not need to see the full path. You do not need to solve your future in one moment. You only need to allow yourself to trust me in this one step. That is how change begins. Not with certainty, but with willingness. I know part of you is still asking, what if I open my heart and nothing happens? That question carries the memory of disappointment, not the reality of this moment. This is not the same season. You are not approaching this with the same heart. And I am not asking you to rely on your strength alone. What is beginning now may start quietly. Do not dismiss it if it does not arrive with noise or drama. Some of the most powerful shifts begin as subtle changes in how you think, how you breathe, how you respond to the world around you. Peace may arrive before circumstances change. Clarity may come before results appear. Hope may return before evidence follows. These are not small things. They are signs that something is moving. I'm not asking you to force belief. I'm inviting you to allow it. Let go of the need to control the process. Let go of the pressure to perform faith perfectly. Let go of the idea that you must be unafraid to move forward. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to move with trust despite it. You are not asking for too much. You are not hoping foolishly. You are not late to your own life. You are exactly where you need to be for what comes next. Stay open, stay present, stay willing. I am here with you, and I am not finished with your story. My beloved child, breathe with me for a moment. Let your shoulders soften. Let the tight places in your chest loosen just a little. You have carried so much responsibility for so long that rest feels unfamiliar, almost unsafe. But rest is not weakness. Rest is trust. And right now I am inviting you into a deeper kind of trust than you have known before. You have been strong for others in ways no one applauded. You have held space for people who did not know how to hold space for you. You learned how to keep going even when your own heart felt fragile. I saw every time you chose patience when anger would have been justified. I saw every time you chose silence instead of defending yourself because you were tired of explaining your pain. Those moments mattered. They shaped you quietly. I know there were times when you wondered if being gentle in a harsh world was a mistake. You questioned whether your kindness made you invisible. You wondered if being faithful only delayed what others seemed to receive easily. But hear me clearly now. Your gentleness was never weakness. Your patience was never foolishness. Your faithfulness was never wasted. It was forming a foundation that will not collapse when weight is placed upon it. You have been asking for clarity, not just about your future, but about yourself. You wanted to know who you are becoming through all of this waiting. You wanted assurance that the years you poured into growth, healing, and endurance were not for nothing. I am telling you now they were essential. You are not the same person you were when this journey began. You see more deeply now. You love more carefully now. You understand pain in others without needing explanations. That depth will serve you in ways you cannot yet imagine. There were moments when you felt torn between holding on and letting go. You tried to release what hurt you, but part of you feared emptiness more than pain. You worried that if you stopped hoping, you would lose a part of yourself. So you learned to hope quietly. You learned to keep belief alive without letting it consume you. That balance was not accidental. It was wisdom growing within you. I know you sometimes wondered why change did not come when you finally felt ready. Why just when you gathered courage, circumstances seemed to stall again. But readiness is not only about desire, it is also about timing, alignment, and protection. There were layers within you that still needed healing. There were fears that needed to loosen their grip. There were expectations that needed to be reshaped so they would not limit what I wanted to give you. You see, I do not only care about what arrives in your life. I care about how it arrives and who you are when it does. I care about your peace as much as your progress. I care about your heart as much as your outcome. That is why I move with intention, not haste. Right now, something within you is learning to receive without striving. That is new for you. You are used to earning, proving, enduring. Receiving feels unfamiliar because it asks you to stop measuring your worth by effort. But love does not require performance. Love invites presence. You may notice a quiet shift beginning to happen. A release of pressure you did not realize you were carrying. A sense that you no longer need to force answers or chase reassurance. This is not resignation. This is alignment. This is your spirit settling into truth. I want you to understand that what is unfolding next will not require you to become someone else. You do not need to harden your heart. You do not need to abandon your sensitivity. You do not need to silence your compassion. The world may have taught you that softness is unsafe, but I tell you that your softness is one of your greatest strengths. It allows you to connect, to understand, to heal, and to grow. You have spent so much time adapting to survive that you almost forgot what it feels like to simply be. But being is where receiving begins. When you stop bracing for disappointment, you make room for joy. When you stop expecting loss, you allow peace to settle. This does not mean pain will never touch you again. It means pain will no longer define you. I know you are wondering how you will recognize what is coming, how you will know when the change begins. I tell you this gently. You will recognize it not by chaos, but by clarity, not by force, but by flow. What is meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself. It will meet you where you are, honor who you have become, and grow with you. Trust the subtle confirmations. Trust the quiet confidence that begins to replace fear. Trust the calm decisions that come without inner conflict. These are signs that you are moving in alignment, not pushing against it. I am not asking you to rush forward. I am asking you to remain open as you move. Openness is what allows guidance to reach you. When you close yourself off to protect against disappointment, you also close yourself off to direction. But when you stay open, even gently, even imperfectly, you allow wisdom to guide your steps. You are not walking alone into what comes next. I am with you in every detail, every pause, every choice. I am not watching from a distance. I am walking beside you, adjusting your pace, steadying you when you hesitate, and reminding you of who you are when doubt tries to speak. Let your heart stay soft. Let your spirit stay listening. Let your hope breathe again. This is not the end of your waiting. It is the transformation of it. Waiting is no longer empty. It is becoming purposeful. What you have been carrying is beginning to shift into what you are meant to receive. My beloved child, remain with me in this stillness. Let the noise of the past soften and the worry about the future loosen its grip. There is a gentle steadiness settling over you now, and it is not accidental. This steadiness is the ground from which new things grow. You do not need to rush it. You only need to allow it. I know you have spent a long time anticipating what might go wrong. You learned to scan every situation for signs of disappointment, to prepare yourself before hope could rise too high. That vigilance once helped you survive, but it no longer needs to lead you. You are safe enough now to release it. You are supported enough now to trust what unfolds step by step. You have wondered whether you were asking for too much, whether your desires were unreasonable or unrealistic. You questioned if wanting peace, fulfillment, clarity, and connection meant you were ungrateful for what you already had. But desire itself is not the problem. Desire becomes painful only when it is mixed with fear. When desire is rooted in trust, it becomes a compass, not a burden. I place longing in your heart for a reason. Longing is not meant to torment you. It is meant to guide you. It points you toward what aligns with who you are becoming. You tried to silence it at times, thinking it would make waiting easier. But silencing your heart never brought peace. Listening to it with discernment will. You may have noticed that certain old patterns no longer satisfy you. Ways of thinking, coping, or settling that once felt necessary now feel heavy. That is not restlessness without cause. That is growth asking for expression. You are outgrowing what once fit, and that can feel uncomfortable before it feels freeing. Do not mistake discomfort for failure. Discomfort often means you are standing at the edge of expansion. What feels unfamiliar is not always unsafe. Sometimes it is simply new. Your spirit recognizes this even when your mind hesitates. I am inviting you to trust the pace of your own becoming. You do not need to compare your journey to anyone else's. You do not need to measure your progress by visible milestones alone. Much of what matters most is happening quietly within you. Integrity is forming. Discernment is sharpening. Compassion is deepening. These qualities will sustain you far longer than external success ever could. I know you have carried responsibility for outcomes that were never yours to carry. You blamed yourself when things did not work out. You wondered if a different choice, a different word, a different moment would have changed everything. But you were never meant to control every result. You were meant to participate, to choose with honesty, and to trust the unfolding beyond your control. Release the weight of hindsight. It keeps you anchored to moments that cannot be revisited. What matters now is presence. Presence allows wisdom to meet you where you are. Presence allows guidance to feel natural rather than forced. I am not asking you to forget the past. I am asking you to stop living inside it. The lessons have already been carried forward. You do not need to keep reopening old wounds to prove that you learned. You have learned. I see it in the way you pause now before reacting. I see it in the way you listen more deeply. I see it in the way you choose honesty with yourself even when it is uncomfortable. As you move forward, you may notice that what once felt urgent begins to feel clear instead. Decisions that used to create anxiety may now bring calm. This is not because the stakes are lower, but because your alignment is stronger. When you act from alignment, effort decreases and confidence grows. Do not be surprised if what comes next feels both familiar and new at the same time. Familiar, because it resonates with who you truly are. New, because you have not experienced it in this way before. Growth often feels like recognition paired with discovery. I want you to know that you do not need to announce your transformation. You do not need validation to confirm what is happening within you. Let your life speak quietly through your choices, your boundaries, your peace. The right people will recognize the change without explanation. There may be moments ahead when doubt tries to revisit you, reminding you of past disappointments. When that happens, do not argue with it. Simply return to this steadiness. Return to the truth that you are supported, guided, and not alone. Doubt loses power when it is not given center stage. You are learning how to trust yourself again, not as a replacement for guidance, but as a reflection of it. The more you listen inwardly, the more confident you will become in the steps you take. This confidence will not be loud or arrogant. It will be calm, grounded, and resilient. Let yourself move forward without carrying unnecessary explanations. Let yourself say yes where you feel peace and no where you feel resistance. Boundaries are not walls, they are clarity. Clarity will protect what is growing within you. I am with you in this unfolding. I am not rushing you toward an outcome. I am walking with you through a process. Each step matters. Each pause has meaning. Nothing about this journey is wasted. Stay open. Stay present. Stay gentle with yourself. There is still more ahead, and you are ready to meet it. Amen.